Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Geek Fruit with fellow and television geeks Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar as they discuss the world of science fiction and nerd culture.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello and welcome everyone. This is the new episode of the TFG Football Podcast. And what we're talking about? Of course, football. And what do we have today, Kevin? Today,
birthday.
Yes, it's not a player, it's not a coach's birthday, but it's a team's birthday. And the team is Mumbai FC. Mumbai FC was founded today in 2007. It's been 10 long years. Wow, it's been a great year. But then the last season was not that great for them. But if you take that year aside, they've done really good to stay up.
Mumbai FC plus Khalid.
Yes, that was the what do you say, equation, and that's how the results came in. But then once it was taken out, and then the team just fell apart. And well, how much ever we make fun of that, in the end we will be talking about that. So players will be playing over there, and we won't have a choice but to talk about it, because that will be in the end eventually the top division league. So now let's keep the jokes aside. We wish Mumbai FC good luck. I hope we still have the same things to say, like what do you say, like they've not said anything, not a word after their relegation. They have a chance. We spoke about it, that they do stand a chance to probably appeal to get back in the top division.
No, AFF will call them back just to fill up the numbers.
Yeah.
Just cite what an exemplary performance you all gave against, even after being under so much controversies and difficult circumstances. You all played your heart out. We want you back.
But there's no voice, no nothing from the management. I hope that happens. At least today they say something, because whatever, it's their birthday. Now let's move on to what we're going to talk about today extensively. Now we've been talking about this since day one, and we've been saying it's a very negative thing. It's a very bad thing for our players. But once again, it's in the limelight because ISL wants to do what they want to do. They're once again going to have a draft system, and Chiranjeev and Kevin will be, getting us all the details of why it has drawbacks and why it is a negative, why we see it as a negative thing for the players and for their future. So Chiranjeev, let's start with you. Why don't you give us some details and take us through what exactly is this draft system?
Look, nothing is an absolute negative, okay? It's like, you're just saying, we'll just see this as a negative. Look, there are many aspects of it that are negative, and it would be wrong to say that we are the only ones who are finding faults with it. If Football Players Association of India completely opposed it, I think we can go back to the interview episode we had with Renedy Singh. He explicitly said, hey, look, we don't like the draft. No player likes the draft at all. Fifth Pro actually stood with the FPI when they said that, footballers are workers. They should be able to choose which club they play for. Okay, they should have the right to determine their working conditions. And draft is obviously something that takes that choice away, And I as a football fan, I always have a problem with any system where the player cannot pick which club he plays for, because I have a special amount of respect for players who stick with a club out of their love. It's just something it's a bit of a romantic thing for me. Like Ryan Giggs sticking with Manchester United, like Shailendra Manna never playing for another club other than Mohun Bagan. It generates a respect for that player. And if you have a system where you don't have where the player cannot even say which club he's going to play for, it just kills that part with it. It just makes it complete business. And I know that business is necessary in 21st century football, but when you have a global open transfer market system, you don't really need to just screw the players further. And I two reasons. I think the reason it happened in 2014 was because they were having 8 amateur teams. I mean, until they get the club licensing, I will call them amateur teams, all the ISL franchises, because that's what they are, not recognized as professional clubs. And in 2014, especially, they did not have any experience of dealing transfer business or working out deals with players or how to negotiate properly with player agents. So what ISL did was they became the agent or the middleman. They signed all the players, put them on a pool, and these owners, they were just sitting and sipping their cocktails and just picking the name. They didn't have to talk to the player. They didn't have to ask them, what do you want? Is money your goal, or maybe you want to go to a team where that pays you less, but you get more game time. But it's understandable. It was the first season. Okay, it's a 2-month thing. Everything is being rushed through. Nobody has experience, so you give them that ease on the first time. Right? Why do you do it in 2015 as well? Like, they did it again. There was another draft system, and almost everybody was put back on the draft, and nobody had control over where they were going to play. Again, it happened. 2016 was the only time when it looked like, okay, they're gonna get keep becoming better because there's no more draft, there's no more stupid auction or anything. Even auction I have a problem with because again, the player does not choose where he's gonna play. 2016 it seemed like they're getting better, but again, some of the teams got screwed by agents simply because they don't have the kind of network or connection with scouts that a real club should have. And they had to pay a lot of inflated salary to some of the players because of that. And I understand that, you're just trying to do this on a smaller budget. You're already facing a huge amount of loss, so you want to control the cost. But that is up to you. You have to step up and take the responsibility that if a player you think is asking more than you can pay, then move on to a next player. Look for talent. Actually employ a couple of scouts around the year who will go around looking for talent. But no, you want the recognizable names. You want the superstars. You want that show aspect of it. So if you're not, but you don't want to pay the premium because the players simply can negotiate. So suddenly, I think this was almost unanimous that ISL teams, the original ISL teams, not Bengaluru FC, not Tata. When I talk about the ISL teams, it's that original 8 teams. They consented to ISL bringing back the draft system. And this is nothing but detrimental to Indian players. Nothing but detrimental. I tried to find positive aspects of it, and why it would be better than an open transfer market system. I could not come up with a single reason. I have not seen anybody, and I've had arguments on Twitter with ISL and some of the people associated with ISL franchises as well. Nobody has given me a single positive aspect of the draft system other than saying, well, players cost too much. That's such a coward-like thing to say. Players cost too much. How are I-League clubs who have much smaller budget than you and much less money power than you making do with a open market transfer system? I have not seen a single I-League club ask for a draft. Like the one time they said, let's make it a unified draft, was simply a reactionary statement saying, okay, if ISL has a draft, let us be a part of it too so that we get some of the players. It was a reaction to what ISL said. Never have I seen I-League clubs come out and say, hey, let's change this system and let's make it a draft-based thing. If they can do it, why can't you take your own responsibility? And I don't know, it just spells out incompetence and unprofessionalism for me. I cannot find better words to describe it.
Kevin, your take on this whole thing?
Players will be affected. Firstly, the choice is taken away. They don't have any more freedom to pick the club they want to, because we have not reached the stage where the player has an agent and who knows about the market, who knows about what value needs to be given to the player. I'm talking about the market value, because if that is not in players themselves do not know, is this the right amount that is up for me in the market? So it makes the player helpless in a way, because you are letting someone to set a price on you. And even that say a player wants to grow in a club, where there's something to learn for him. And he's put in a club where he's there on the bench, but might never get a chance. So the career path is not really, in line. So that's a problem for me, because even the clubs who've been, scouting players, who've grown a player over the years, will have to just let go of that player, and he goes in the draft, and he might just land up in any club. It's a loss for a club first, and then the player. Even I don't make any sense out of this draft system, because the minimum wages policy is also not applied over here. It's been said by the administration, and every player will be just picked and just thrown here and there out of the choice. For me, the freedom of the players have been taken away.
Yeah. Now, we also see now, since it's coming back again in this season, Chiranjeev and Kevin, it's both to you. How do you see, if now this is the first time, not the first time, but we see a collective stand from the players, that they're finally voicing it out. Everyone's coming around saying, no, we don't like it, we are still waiting for the mesh to be settled, and only then we sign for the teams or whatever. But how do you see if this becomes a bigger protest? Like the players say, no, we are not interested in the draft system, we completely want to stay away from it, and we give us the freedom, just like how we are talking right now. How do you see that panning out then?
I think if there is someone who can talk for the players, it's the Football Players Association. But they again do not have enough power, do not have enough recognition to put their voices because they put forth their suggestion that players are against the draft.
Yeah.
They've had a survey, they've taken a poll, and that suggests that the players do not want to get into the draft.
Right.
But what is the empowerment to this body?
Right.
The AFF just comes and says we do not recognize FPAI. So they are left helpless. They cannot fight for something unless they are given the enough authority.
Naturally, if all the players come out and say, like, leave the body aside, if they take a stand and say
no, look, players don't have the power here, period. They're not making the decision. Now let's say you are a player, okay? So you know that all the recognition, all the sponsors, all the eyeballs are towards ISL. So, and you are looking at I-League clubs which are being driven into further financial troubles because all the money and all the sponsors want to invest in ISL. That's where the more eyeballs are, because it's simply the better promoted tournament. So obviously you want to go there. And now it's an open secret that maybe next season or 2 years later ISL will be the top division.
Right.
It's already become the unofficial top division, so to speak, in terms of the treatment it gets from the federation and the promoters. And IMG Reliance controls both ISL and the I-League, by the way. So they give preference to ISL. So ISL is obviously the better place to be. So as a player, it's a no-brainer. You want to be there in ISL.
Right.
And if ISL decides that we're going to have a player draft, do you think they're asking the players? No, they're asking the team owners. The team owners pay them franchisee fees. So they're not being impartial. They're not looking out for everybody here. This is not about developing Indian football. This is about looking out for their stakeholders, and by stakeholders, meaning those who pay them money.
Yeah.
Not all the stakeholders.
Yeah.
Theoretically, players are the most important stakeholders of any footballing structure, right?
Right.
But here, it's them who get put at the bottom of the list. Okay, it's the owners, then the sponsors, then the players. That's the hierarchy. So it leads to some unfortunate things as well. One of the things that really bothered me or sort of pissed me off on a very subjective level was, remember 2014 draft, Jackie Chan Singh and Satya Singh, there was a video that was played beforehand. Like they said, look, we have always played together since our school days, and they were playing for Royal Wyandotte back then. Yeah. Together. It was both of them at both wings. It was brilliant to watch them play together. It was an awesome combination, right? And they came out and said, please, whichever team picks us, please pick us together. Okay, we want to play together. And they were for the first time placed apart.
Right.
Okay, and I don't think either of them has played that well since then.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean Jackie Chan Singh has done really well in the national team. He's been decent throughout, but that magic is gone. If I am pretty sure if they had the choice at that point to pick which club they played for, they would go for a club that wanted them both and played them both in the wings. They would do that even if they got less money. Simply because they wanted to be there together and develop together. But it just that's that very human aspect of it. They could have become a legendary winger duo like Manas Bidesh if they were given the choice. But since then they have not been together, and frankly it's just not the same anymore. So that magic goes away for me. And there are practical concerns as well. I mean this is something I think the ISL fans will understand better. I don't think they care about that magic aspect of it. Let's say you are a player who thinks you can make 40 lakhs a year.
Okay.
Who should be worth 40 lakhs a year,
okay.
Right? But there are other players who are also almost as good, who would also want to make 40 lakhs a year. But there are only so many teams and so many positions available. It's like how many? About 17 into 10, which means about 170 Indian players will be playing in ISL, while they will at least sign some 250 players for the draft. So there's a chance that you will go unsold.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there are 3 other players who are almost as good as you, who are also worth 40 lakhs.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure you don't go unsold? You lower your own price. Right?
Yeah.
And the others do the same. You're worth 40 lakhs. So you might say, okay, I'll put it 35 lakhs, and somebody else might think, oh, that guy may put himself at 35 lakhs. Maybe I should tag myself at 30 lakhs. Because why? Because
so I can be picked.
The team,
I don't go unsold.
The team has a limited amount of budget, right? The team has a budget this year. They will have a budget of 18 crores, and they will buy 8 foreigners with it. This is something I want to do a correction. Yesterday I was mentioning this and I said 10
in
foreigners.
Squad, yeah.
That was last year. Last year was 10 foreigners. This time it's 8 foreigners. So out of that 18 crores, maybe you pay the marquee player. If you're signing a marquee player, you will pay him big money, which will be outside the purse. Even without that, you will at least be spending 11 to 12 crores on the foreigners.
Right.
Which leaves 6 to 7 crores for 17 Indian players. And once you have paid the star strikers maybe about 1 crore or something like that, maybe you have 4 or 5 really big time players who are commanding next to close to 1 crore. You have very small amount of money left for the others. So it's already the draft is set up to incentivize the players to lower their own prices, because they will be thinking, okay, if a team signs Sunil Chetri for 1.5 crore, then how much money do they have left? They will go for somebody cheap.
Yeah.
To fill a winger position or fill a side back position. So let's say you are putting your price down by 5 lakhs. Somebody puts their price down by 10 lakhs, and then all that happens. Let's say you made 40 lakhs in the previous year. This time you put yourself at 30 lakhs. You still go unsold.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you go unsold at 30 lakhs, then do you think a club, maybe a I-League club which may be interested to take you, do you think that club will pay you even close to that money? Like they will say you asked for 30 lakhs, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
Right? So we won't give you anything more than 20 lakhs. So suddenly you are making half of what you made last year.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to make it up because both are running in parallel. You can either be in ISL or you can be in I-League.
Yeah.
So the draft system screwed you so publicly that it just cut down your income.
Yeah.
And just see the damage this does. 20 lakhs a year sounds a lot to many, but players have short careers.
Yeah.
And they live expensive lives. They have to eat healthy. They have to. They have kind of expenses that normal people don't.
Yeah.
You know, but so 20 lakhs for a good player is nothing. It's pittance. So that's the situation it's creating. Back when, but in an open transfer system, you can say like, hey, you're talking to me. You're offering me 30 lakhs. There's somebody who is offering me 35 lakhs. And even if this one team passes on you at 30 lakhs, it's not a public thing.
Yeah. It's
So
only
you don't
between you
get
and the
your
team.
price does not get publicly brought down, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't lose your value to other clubs.
Right.
Yeah. So see how this is the very private and crucial and possibly confidential process of negotiation between a player and a club. It's being turned into a reality show.
Yeah.
Where if you're rejected, you're marked for life.
Yeah.
And I will guarantee you that some of the best players, maybe most of the really good players, will be picked by ISL teams. They've become really good at picking now. But some of the really good players who simply don't have the I-League record to back them up, they don't have the name recognition or the number of goals or matches under their belt, they will be unsold. And they will lose their value big time.
Yeah.
If you want to look at an example, look at Rolling Borges in 2015.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? They went unsold. Constantine went around the tables telling, please take Rolling Borges, please take Rolling Borges. They were like, what, he played a few games for Sporting Club de Goa. He's nothing, he's nobody. So they ignored him. Then he plays for the national team and does so well. Suddenly next year they're all clambering after him.
Yeah.
They all want him.
Yeah.
So see how imperfect this is. See how amateurish and destructive this is for the players. I don't really care if a billionaire team owner has to spend a few extra lakhs, inflated price, just because the players are commanding more value now, and as it should be. The football economy is growing, so the players should be direct beneficiaries of that. Their income should go up. But now you are complaining that the players are asking for too much money, and you want to cripple their careers like this. It's just toxic.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, Kevin, how do you look at these? When you're looking at a sport, you look at the players, right? The players, they are the ones who form the sport and they are the ones who play. And when you're treated like this and there are no players, when you have, how do you see the sport growing, or how do you see these new young players? Let's say Chiranjeev mentioned, taking the point from him, that the star names, the big names will be taken by the teams, because you've seen them. Just like we saw, he gave an example of Ronan Borges. The first season, nobody wanted him, but suddenly when they saw him play for the national team, play good, everybody wanted him. Now, there'll be so many new crops in that draft system who won't be picked, and just like their value will come down, though their talent is much more than whatever the value they've termed. It's just like a product, buying a product. I mean, it's so bad and so shameful for anyone who's sitting out there. So how do you look at all of this stuff?
Well, firstly, it's degrading things. Players' value, players' talent. It's just being put down. What you do is you see a player rise. His talent is there. He makes a name for himself. His market value increases, and all of a sudden he's just brought into the draft, and he's just as good as the other players.
Yeah.
Because you're doing that to a very good player who's been growing, and the draft just degrades everything. It's beyond understanding that why this is required. It's obvious that the monetary things are first in place, and the development is later on. Now, as Chiranjeev correctly just gave us an example of why would a player want to go into a team. He wants to play. If he wants to play, he'll want to just reduce his price by some margin. But then if he's not sold, he's not been taken by any club. Now, there's also a problem that if the draft happens sooner or later, there's a problem with the I-League clubs. They do not have enough players to pick. If the ISL draft happens quite in advance, you see the best of players being put down in the value, but they are playing for an ISL team because they want to be, in the top league. They want to be recognized so that their career can grow.
Yeah.
And pick that player a player that is not picked in that draft goes unsold and he's not picked by any I-League club, he's just losing out an entire year. What does that mean to a player?
Demotivates him.
It does, because you'll be watching from the sidelines. You do not get to grow. Your work for the entire life just goes down by that 1 year. It's for a player, it's very demotivating, and it's a career-breaking path actually. If he's not playing anywhere, that's a very much possible move, very much possible thing that is there once you have the draft in place. And you'll see a lot of players being just thinking about alternate careers or just trying to go abroad by some contacts because they don't see any value in their own country.
Chiranjeev, now we're coming to the end of the show, but I want to ask you, these players who get picked, not the big names. We know the big names will get big teams and all the attraction and everything. But what about those smaller players who are still rising, who are still growing, and they are picked by a team, okay, by the draft system, and they feel fortunate enough, okay, they have got a team, they will play for it. But what about then the management making them warm the bench? Because we've seen that in the past as well in the initial stages. So how do you see all of that panning out?
Yeah, see the thing is that let's take Jackie Chan for example. Went to East Bengal, and he got benched for entire season. Right. So this happens in any kind of system. This may happen. But here you say, hey, Jackie Chan, nobody made you go to East Bengal. You signed it. You decided. You picked your own club. Right. So the responsibility is with you. So there's nobody to blame. But what if it's let's say Mohan Bagan played in ISL, okay, and they picked players through draft, and Keane Lewis got picked into Mohan Bagan through draft. So he's a great player in the left wing, but he's competing with Sonny Norde, so he gets benched. So if the player had no consent in it, then it's a terrible thing to happen to that player. He did not have that choice of going into a team where he's almost certainly going to be benched, but he was forced to go there. And why would you want that on you? Why would you want that on your conscience as a league organizer or a commercial partner of the federation?
Right.
Of putting a player in that position, because a player, you should look out for the players. You should try to get them as much opportunities as possible. Now the worst part here is that now you either play in ISL or in I-League. So it's not like if you go to ISL and get benched, you can look forward to I-League from January, and then you get some game time and you recover yourself, and next season suddenly you're valuable again. If a player gets bought by an ISL team and is benched for the entire season, that player's value will go down so much next time.
Even though
and that is also another beef I have with the draft system. It's because it just makes a player's association with a club so temporary. So temporary. And I thought we were supposed to be moving towards a better treatment of players from the clubs, which means longer contracts, which means clubs actually having a close relationship with the players, saying, making investments in developing them over the long term, like Bengaluru FC is doing. Right now, it looks like they will have to, all the 5-year contracts they made. We were hearing that ISL may exempt that and let them keep those players, but no confirmation. It may be a case where Bengaluru FC, with all the multi-year contract players that they have, they already have signed, and most of them, like Nishu Kumar or somebody, these are under 21, under 20 players. If ISL does not decide to exempt them, which is ridiculous, it's like asking from somebody else to keep your own players, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in football. If they don't, they will be forced to let them go. And most of the players, and what if like a player like Udanta Singh has done so well in Bengaluru? If he stays in Bengaluru, he will get to play with let's say Chetri and some really good players, and also play at the Asian level, which no other ISL team gives him a chance to do at the point. Why is Bengaluru, if they want to keep Udanta Singh, forced to give them up? Because there's a retention limit right now. You can keep only 2 players and sign 2 more from open market. So for Bengaluru and Tata, it's like you can make only 4 Indian player signings from open market, right? So Bengaluru FC can actually just keep 4 players. What about the rest? What if they want to keep everybody and everybody wants to stay?
Yeah.
Who are you to just get in the middle and say you cannot do that? So you're destroying the relationship between a club and a player.
Right.
You're destroying what could be potentially long term. Having a club that cares about you is the best thing that can happen for a player. Right?
Yeah.
And it's job security is so rare. If a club says you wanna let's stay with us for 3 years, it's like heaven for a player. But you're just creating a situation where that's becoming impossible to do, and it's affecting I-League clubs as well.
Right.
Just look at what they're doing. East Bengal, Mohun Bagan are making teams for Calcutta Football League mostly. They're not thinking about I-League at the moment. All the Goa teams, they're making teams for Goa Pro League. ISL FC, I am in ISL right now. I spoke to somebody connected to the team. They're thinking about Mizoram Premier League, not I-League right now.
Yeah.
You know what they're doing? They're waiting for the ISL draft to get over, and they want to look at who gets unsold, because they know some really good players will be there who will not get a team. Okay, and then they will go and buy them for super cheap. Okay, so you are forcing the I-League clubs as well to not
indulge in the dirty
invest.
game.
Yeah, to not take a proactive approach towards building like long-term relationships with players.
Yeah.
So it's like a toxin. It's like a cancer, and I don't care if this is the one time it's happening. If from next season it's not going to happen at all, you're doing a lot of damage.
Yeah.
A lot of players will suffer because what is happening this year. It has hurt players every time it has happened, and it's going to hurt players this year as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely in very, very bad state. But on closing point, Kevin, what would you like to say?
Can we do without the draft? If that's possible, then please have it. Because again, it's sad for a player to just degrade himself and be there in the draft where he knows he's already been undervalued.
Yep. Yeah. Well, hopefully we see some light at the end of it, and we do see like the federation, the ones running the football, all the franchisees do take consideration and to take note of this, and probably say, okay, let's not have it, because the players, they finally take players into consideration and not put themselves ahead of it. Let's hope for the best.
And ISL teams should grow up. People who are asking for the for the draft, they should just grow up and do it like everybody else does in the civilized football world.
Exactly.
Every club in the world, like be it lower division clubs, even lower division clubs can handle their own transfers. Why do you need Reliance to play middleman?
Yeah.
Why can't you go out and actually sign players rather than sitting in a comfortable chair in an AC room and just picking names? Yeah. So it's shameful. I think they should be ashamed of themselves who want this.
Yeah, on that question, we leave it at that. And this is a question addressed to all those people, the franchisees, the federation, the IMG Reliance, whoever's running, the so-called running the Indian football at the moment. It's bad. Just hopefully you get out of it and give us fans and the players a good answer to it. Now, if you're listening to our show on YouTube, hit like, share, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon to get updates of our new episode. Do let us know what do you think about all your thoughts about the draft system in our comment section. And if you're listening, you can also listen to our show on Audioboom, SoundCloud, and various other podcasting apps. Do follow the TFG Football Twitter handle, where you get updates of everything Indian football. And you can also read about all these stories up on our website, thefangarage.com. You can talk to us directly. Chiranjit Oja, Boza _Kevin, Sujun Matthew 94. Have a great day, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show. Cheers.
The That was Tantric Steve from Hansraj College, Delhi, performing at IIT Bombay's Mood Indigo. Just like them, there's a lot of new talent and art coming out of colleges all across India, but unfortunately most of this goes completely unnoticed or ignored. To fix this, we started atkt.in. Hi, I'm Ankur, I'm a musician and a rapper, and I found that one of the best things about being an artist myself is finding new talent. Through atkt.in, Tanya, my colleague who's a dancer, and our whole team really is putting all of our efforts into discovering and promoting all the coolest talent that's coming out of colleges all across India. And this goes up on our website, our social media, TV, radio, and now of course, this podcast with IVM. Make sure you go to our website, support the talent with your likes, your shares, your comments. All of that really matters. Go ahead, check it out. atkt.in.
एक्सक्यूज मी भैया, एक्सक्यूज मी।
बोलिए मैडम।
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वैक्स है, IVM लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, टिंग्स एंड डेस्टिनेशंस है, माय नेबर जकरबर्ग है और द फैन गराज है। आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम। आप जाओ IVMpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप, सब आपकी उंगलियों पे।